It's your boy TGZ, aka Tactical Gamer Zay, aka Real Time Zay, and I'm here to post my first ever video trying to get this channel to grow. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel, sub to my YouTube, sub to my Twitch, follow me on Instagram at Real Time Zay, and I'm not just gonna be gaming on this channel. So if there's any other content that you would like to see me create, then be free to comment, be free to DM me at RealTimeZay and tell me what you want to see. With that being said, today we're going to be doing a story time / gameplay. So I'm going to be playing Madden 21 while telling you guys stories about my life, you know, to get us better acquainted as a YouTube family. So let's get into it. You already know, I'm a true fan. Seahawks to the day I die. Now, don't worry about my shirt, my jacket. It's I spilled bleach on it, so yeah, just ignore that. But the story time I'm gonna be telling today is the story time of the time I went to an alternative school. So let's start the game up, and then we'll start the story time at the same time the game starts. Alright, so the game is starting. Don't really have a lot of time because I'm in between classes right now. So I'm gonna try to speed this up. Yeah, it's 11:55 and my next class starts at 12. But I don't think I have to log on, so here we go. So as I was saying before, oh, that was a bad kick. But as I was saying before, I'm going to tell you guys the story time of how I went to alternative school. So I'm going to start off by telling you guys a couple things about me since I'm new and you guys are new to the channel. First thing is I'm very emotional. So if there's anything that could bother me, it would be like somebody talking about my family, right? Especially as like a kid in elementary school, because you know back then when people talked about your family, it was like we're fighting on sight as soon as you say anything about my mom or my dad, my sister. But for me it was way different. Like you couldn't even bring up my family in a crossing conversation, because if I thought that you were slightly disrespecting them, it hurt me mentally. So I was very sentimental as well. I feel like I still am, but I'm not as sentimental. I remember I cried the first two times we switched cars. And by switch cars, I mean my mom bought a new car and I cried because we had to give up our old car. It was crazy. But anyway, that's off topic. Let's get back to the story time, which is the story of me going to alternative school. And this story is going to consist of some stuff that you guys may think is crazy, because I honestly think it's crazy too. So I'm going to start it off from when I was in kindergarten. When I was first starting elementary school, I was a bad kid. I mean, I'm not a bad kid, and I never was a bad kid at heart, but I got in trouble a lot for just different things. I always got in trouble. And in kindergarten, I actually got into my first fight in kindergarten. And that's really crazy when I think about it now, because who fights in kindergarten? Like, it's kindergarten. What is there to fight over? But it happened, and that was my first technical fight. I can't really say whether I won or lost, because again, it was kindergarten and it mostly just consisted of us pushing each other. You know, there were a couple punches thrown, but I don't think we really connected that much. So I don't know. It's like at some point you can't even really call it a fight, but it was technically a fight. So I said all that to say, when I was coming into elementary school, I was I attracted problems. I was always in trouble. I was that kid that was always in trouble for everything. And by my third grade year, yes, my third grade year, I ended up having 22 suspensions, and I was expelled from one school, maybe two, because I do remember in first grade, the summer after first grade, my mother, she told me, she asked me if I wanted to go to a different school than I'd been going to. And I said yes, because I was like, why not? Let's try something new. But then later on in life, like when I was in like fourth grade, she told me that I actually got expelled from that school. But I don't know, because there was people way worse than me in that school who got in trouble for a lot more, like a lot worse things than I did, and they were still there. So I don't really believe to this day that I got expelled from that school. But the second school I did get expelled from, it was Johnson Elementary. I went there for less than a year, and I got suspended like every single day. Like literally, I would go to school, get suspended. That day that I was suspended, I would be at home. Then I'd come back the next day and get suspended again. So it's like I go to school, suspended, go to school, suspended. It was literally like that the whole time. And then eventually they gave my mom a note that said I was expelled from the school and I wasn't to return. Then luckily my break, I think it was winter break that came up at that time. Yeah, it was winter break. And it came up, when it came up, it was like right at the time when I was getting expelled. So I had a little leeway, a little time in between being expelled and finding a new school. So while I was on break, my mom called and she asked what school I wanted to go to, because she found two schools specifically. But I was really indecisive, so she ended up choosing a school for me. And she chose a school that was easier for me to go to, and by that I mean they had a bus that came to my neighborhood. It wasn't that far from where we lived, and I didn't have to wear uniform at that school. So I know that was a benefit for her, because she hated buying uniforms every year. So she was like, I can go to this school and I could just wear my regular clothes. She wouldn't have to buy clothes every year. So I went to that school. It was a dope school. The best school I ever went to, hands down, especially at my elementary school experience, bro. I made so many friends. So many of my friends actually lived near me, so I got to see them outside of school. I also reconnected with a friend from when I was like 2 years old going to that school. Because he ended up living where I lived, but I didn't know he lived there until I went to the school that he went to. So we ended up getting really close again. I ended up having a lot of really, and my fear, yeah, I got suspended for something. Can't really remember. I remember getting suspended, and basically my principal took me to tribunal. If you don't know what tribunal is, it's basically court for educational purposes, stuff to do with the school board. And I went there, and they told me that they told me that they would have let me back into a regular school, but I had gotten 22 suspensions in that 1 year, which was more suspensions than they ever seen anybody have. So, that being said, they sentenced me to 45 days in alternative school. And I say sentence because it's like a jail reference. And, compared to a regular school, it's basically what alternative school is for. It's for correcting your behavior, just like how jail corrects your behavior and then you go back into society. Go to alternative school, correct your behavior, and go back into a regular school. So basically, I was in this school, made a lot of friends. Oh, just so you guys know, anybody who really hasn't been to an alternative school is nothing like people portray it to be. It's not like prison. It's not like, we don't do anything different. Honestly, if you ask me, alternative school is a lot easier and more fun. But I don't know, maybe it's just the alternative school that I went to. But basically, in this alternative school, we would go to one class. One class, it had every single class in that class, if you know what I mean. It was like science, math, social studies, all of that. It was all in that one class. And in that class was 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. I was in 5th grade at the time that I went to the alternative school. But I was really small, so people didn't believe I was in 5th grade. But I was. And basically, all the kids were actually really nice. If you think about it, it's just, it's nothing different. The kids aren't mean. The kids aren't big and tough and stuff. We're all still kids. It's just we had behavioral problems in school. So really, we bonded more. And we all became really close friends. There was only 14 of us in one class. So it was really dope. And also, it was the easiest school experience that I've ever had. I don't think that alternative school is really, because I know I said it was for correctional purposes, correcting your behavior. But at the same time, it's really not. You do nothing different from regular school. We don't have classes on, behavior, or classes on what can help us control anger and stuff like that. Regular classes, regular school schedule, it's just the idea that you're going to a different school. But I don't know. It was kind of weird. But like I said, I made friends in that school. It wasn't terrible, honestly. It was a pretty good school. I got straight A's. It was my first time getting straight A's going to that school. I was proud, but at the same time, I wasn't proud because the work was a lot easier. Honestly, we did less work than we did in regular school. We did less work, definitely. Because I remember going to regular school, I would come home and then I would fall asleep doing homework. And then I don't even think we really had homework when I went to alternative school. We just did all our work in school, and then we went home and came back the next day. It was actually really dope, if you ask me. So basically, yeah, it was a cool experience, but at the same time, I was there for the reason that I was there, so it wasn't really all that glorifying. I can't really glorify it because I went there for the purpose that I was bad in school, and that's something that I shouldn't really glorify. So I'm gonna say it was an experience. It was a definitely different experience. And I actually, let's see, the best memory of me going there is the time when my friend Raul came back to the alternate school. So a little backstory on Raul. Raul was he was a chill guy, but he was also getting in trouble. Not as much as me, but when he did get in trouble, it was for something big. Like he would bring guns and drugs to school, stuff like that. And he was a really cool kid. And I don't mean to say he's cool because he brought guns and drugs to school, or he was cool because he was always in trouble. I was just saying that he actually, he was a chill, nonchalant person. So basically, I was standing in line going to lunch, I think, and I remember just randomly having the thought, like, man, I really wish Raul was here. And I do specifically remember saying, I wish Raul was, or like out loud. I said it like at least 20 times. And now thinking back on it, I must have been getting annoying for the people around me because I was just saying the same thing over and over. And like I said, I had said it like 20 times already. But after the last time I said it, I remember turning around for absolutely no reason. And Raul was walking up to the lunch line, like right behind me. And he had an escort with him and everything. So it was to my assumption that he had just got back to come on. He had just got back to the school, and basically what happened was he got back to the school, and oh yeah. I forgot. Let me say this. Sorry, I zoned out trying to catch that guy. But yeah. When we went back to school, well, when we were in regular school, me and Raul went to the exact same regular school. I'm not sure if I said that already, but we went to the same regular school, and I knew him, which was the reason that I was saying I wish he was there, because I knew he had went there before, because he went there actually a year before I did for bringing drugs to school, like I said earlier. So he went to alternative school for bringing drugs to school. And then once he got out of alternative school, that's when I went to alternative school. And I guess he came back because something else happened. I never asked him why he came back, because honestly, I was just glad to see him there. I mean, I wasn't glad in the sense that he was getting in trouble and had to go back to alternative school. But I was glad in the sense that I now had somebody that I knew and could conversate with more personally. So basically, me and Raul got back to our old ways from the regular school. We talked a lot. We hung out a lot. We sat together during lunch. We played games together. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but literally 95% of the memories of me being in the alternative school classroom was playing games on the computer. Because we actually did all our work on the computer. We didn't write things out like most people did in elementary school. We did all our work on computers. And basically, the teacher did not care. I mean, she cared. Like, she was a good teacher, but she was so chill. It was like we would play games all day long in her class. And once we, like, as long as we had completed the work, and it didn't even have to be completed before we played games, like, as long as the work was completed before we left for the day, then she was all right with us playing games. And we all did a pretty good job of completing our work. So most of the times we were just playing games with each other. You know, we played like Cahoots and stuff, which was really dope, honestly. And basically, it was just an awesome experience. Come on. But that is the story time of when I went to alternative school. I don't want anybody thinking that alternative school is glorified, like I said earlier. Like, maybe that would like that might even not go for every alternative school. It might have just been the one I went to, or it might have just been the teacher that we had, and she let us do all this stuff. But other than that, it was good. We were chill. But like I said, it's not glorified. I do not recommend getting in trouble a lot or trying to go to an alternative school because I said all this stuff. Because that's not a good look going to an alternative school. What I didn't mention earlier, is that one bad thing was that people had to get daily pat downs every time we came into the building. So basically, we would walk through the cafeteria door, go up on stage, and there would be a whole security thing. We'd walk through a metal detector like they have in the airports, and then we would put our stuff on the table. They would look through our stuff, and then we would get patted down and searched with a wand, the little metal detector wand thing. We would get searched with that, and it was cool. It was cool and all, but I mean, no, that part wasn't cool. Like, I got accustomed to it after a while, but it's clearly not ideal to get pat down every time you come to school. But it's alternative school. Anything could happen. The kids in there, they are there for a reason. So, you know, uh, but I still have a little time left. Well, I don't have a little time left, but this game isn't over, and I'm trying to end the story time exactly when the game ends. So I'm gonna tell one more story time, just to fill up all the extra time, because I don't want you guys to just sit here and watch me play a game. Oh jeez, I didn't even mean to do that, but yeah, I don't want you guys to just sit here and watch me play a game and be quiet. So I want to play. Well, I'm going to tell one more story time. Sorry, my English was broken for a second, but I'm gonna play one more. Oh Jesus, I said it again.
Like a white bitch, I should go blind, bitch. I put my dick up in your mom, bitch. You ain't no shit.com.